Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Gonna hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. At the end of the month.
End
It was a
of,
quick month.
yes, it was.
Oh,
Went
well,
by.
it is February, isn't it?
It is February. Couple fewer days than the other months, but it went by quick nonetheless. I think we still had 20 trading days in February. Turn mine up. Let's see if I can turn myself up a little bit here. Give me 1 second. I think I'm at
Mhm.
max volume, guys. I'll try to talk a little bit louder. How about that? Maybe that's a little bit better. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I have been involved in the futures industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share my experiences, perhaps wisdom, and help you become a better trader.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. And you are all our audience. Thank you for joining us on this Friday at the end of the week, last day of February, February 28th. Uh, and what a day. What a day it was to close out the month. Let's take a look at the news. As far as news goes, we had PCE inflation data out this morning, but going with the theme that we've been seeing for the year so far, the unplanned news is more effective in the markets than the planned news right now. So we had PCE come out year over year 2.5%. Forecast was 2.5%, and maybe the reason we didn't see anything is because we had inline expectations. Not much of a move there. Um, but we also had a planned. We had Chicago PMI come out down 153.3 billion. Forecast was 116.6 billion, so a big miss there. Um, Actually, no, that's the trade balance. My bad, guys. I'm reading these numbers all off. I'm getting to what the important news was, and we had a meeting between President of the United States, President of Ukraine, Donald Trump, and President Zelensky meeting at the White House. If you didn't see what happened, it was a contentious meeting, to say the least. Uh, I think there's clips of them yelling at each other and speaking kind of loudly, and then there was supposed to be a press conference after the fact where President Zelensky just leaves the White House at that point, which is not great, right? We don't trade the news. Actually, today I did trade the news, but just for the geopolitical picture, and our president mentioning World War III in that conversation. It's little bit concerning, right? A little bit concerning, and I think the markets were concerned after the press conference was canceled. We saw the markets respond to that as well. But anything you got on the news, Coach?
Um, no, um, not at all. I have no comment. Um, I don't. I really didn't follow the news closely. It wasn't a big event
Yep,
for Newsday, so I stuck to volume and price.
good stuff, Coach. And in my opinion, that is enough. Uh, let's get to the charts. There are 35 different markets that we can trade with Top Step accounts, not just the equities. And today, to the downside, we had corn down 2.39%, natural gas down 2.67%, and soybean oil, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside at 2.71%. To the upside, we had micro Bitcoin futures down 1.3%, the S&P up 1.4%, and the Nasdaq up 1.45%. And if you watch the price action today, these do not look like markets that were almost 2% up, but that close was insane. I am going to go over to a Nasdaq chart. That's what I traded today, so we'll take a look at that. 30-minute chart on the Nasdaq, Coach, to end the month. So why don't we look at it daily really quick and maybe see what we did for this month. What are we looking at here, Coach?
Well, we captured the 200-day moving average to settle over it after settling under. Um, is it short covering? Is it fresh buying? Well, we did mention it's the end of the month, and I believe we're on the lows of the month, lows of the year. Last today, early.
Yep.
Um, there's a thing called window dressing, and that is with large institutions who purchase stocks. That's what they do. Save some of their gunpowder, so to speak, for the last day. It's very common. Fund managers do that in a few things. Short covering, I believe, it was a big point of this too. Um, End of the month, short covering. We were on the lows of the month for a big down month. So, what was interesting, if we want to start from last night to this afternoon. So, last night, after that big drop, we had a low volume break. All right. We talk, well, let's see what happens. And kind of just traded both sides of that market. Um, if we just looked at VWAP, it was flat, right?
Flatline.
Flat line. So with no volume after that huge break. And we talked yesterday. Let's see what happens on the opening.
On the open. So
Um,
uh, today, that news, and again, the planned news events, and maybe PCE wasn't what the market was looking for either. Again, pretty low volume event. We can frame this out. Here's the PCE candle, because we said we were going to start there, right? Because we have that news event there. Uh, Gave you a decent range trade opportunity, right? Where we have the news print. Again, we still don't want to trade in these news prints. Me personally, that is a 90-point 3-minute candle on the Nasdaq, and if we go down to a shorter time frame, it's probably shorter than that, right, Coach? About okay, so the 1-minute candle is about 55 points, so not the most volatile, but still, how do you limit your risk in here? We don't know that this candle is going to be 50 points before it prints, so maybe not trading in it. But once we have, and I'll go back to the 3-minute, once we have that 3-minute news range established, there was a decent range trade opportunity, right? Shorting up at the highs here when this volume kind of fails to make a new high. But here is the New York session open. We'll remove this stuff here. New York session open here, and uh, it looked like it was going to sell off. We had the sell off
it
from
did sell off for a
it,
very short time, right?
it did, yeah, yeah. I shouldn't even say look like it. It sold off on the open. We were down, 119 points in that first 3-minute candle, which is a huge opening range, right? That's a ton of orders going through at that time over a big range. We traded down below 20,500 in the Nasdaq, major psych level that we have not traded below in a little while. And you know the selling was not enough to hold us below it, right, for very long. Um, we popped right back up, and is this a J trade here off the open? Maybe, uh, but what looked like we were going to get continuation for the sell off that we've had for the last 2 weeks uh, was short lived, and we got a pretty nice bounce. Um,
Yeah, we had a beautiful bounce, and it was a nice 2-to-1 trade on the buy side on the breakout.
yep.
Um, but still, look at those the average volume, and it's below average. So there wasn't much fire, if we look at volume. So what did we just flopped around. But um, but we held. We went, I guess, when the fight broke out, we had the break.
So that was here. That was right around. That was this candle actually, uh, right after noon uh, Eastern time. That's this candle right here.
And there was pretty good selling. I mean, look at, and the volume was greater than average.
Yep.
But I found it real interesting. What did we do? We held the opening.
Yeah, and so that's a great point, Coach. We say it all the time here. News expedites a move. If we didn't know, because this honestly doesn't look like a day where the headline was, you know, two presidents are arguing in the White House. If you just look at the price action alone, it doesn't look like that. It just looks like a day where, it was honestly pretty boring price action where we had one move to the upside and then we just went back to the opening range. But that news just got us back down to this opening range quicker, in my opinion. I think where I took this short was this volume came in, was watching Top Step TV, heard Andre mention, hey, Trump and Zelensky are arguing in the White House. I'm like, oh well, that's doesn't sound like good news, right? And I'm not just going to blind short it, but uh, where we have this volume, I got short right around somewhere near 50% of this opening range. It's not opening range of this range with risk above the highs, and just traded it like news wasn't happening. Because, like you said, Coach, all we did was trade back to the open and hold it.
Yeah, and what's interesting, that we talked yesterday. Can this continue down here? Because we know that at the 200, we find buyers.
Mhm.
Um, how do you know they're buyers? Well, at first, without that news, there was light buying, or you might even call it short covering. Short covering is also light buying, and it stood the test of time. But what did we have on those lows after the opening?
This exhaustion volume here. And I was in this short talking to some traders in the Discord chat about, the potential for continuation on this trade. I do want to mention these volume candles right here. At one point this had the potential to be that exhaustion move, right, where we have volume higher than the average. But why I was comfortable holding this trade was the consistency of that volume, right? Where we don't a lot of times we see it above average and then it drops off. It stayed consistent, right, for another 3 minutes. Price kind of, hesitated a little. It's not the cleanest price action here, but then staying consistent again for another 3 minutes at this point in this short. I'm looking at this as there is no reason to get out until we see that exhaustion move. Um, right? It might give us some pullbacks where we do see this, but even here, I don't see a reason to get out of this trade. Now I'm going to manage it, and maybe I think I was short 3 contracts, so I'm going to scale in and out, and I'm going to take some profits, but I'm not going to get out of the full position. And when the volume is this consistent, I think it actually gives an opportunity on these pull-ups to get back in for the short until you see that exhaustion move that we eventually got right now. Comparing this 3 minute candle to these, this looks like it has the potential to be that exhaustion move. So let's frame that one out, Coach.
Just frame it out. This is a classic Coach J trade.
All right. Now,
This
what
is
do we have?
right out of the playbook.
Right out of the playbook. What do we have here, Coach?
We have a volume exhaustion is selling at a news event. The panic subsided. But I personally, there's two ways you can. There's a couple different ways to play this. I'm a little more aggressive on these. If we close above VWAP, I want in, and I'll put a stop at the lows of the day. Or you wait, and for the full confirmation is break the high of the exhaustion. Um, and take your risk to new lows.
Even if you did that with the Nasdaq, this is still an 80, almost a 90 point move to this high. Take 50% of it. 40 point trades, right? We said, can you make a living making 40 point trades in the Nasdaq? You don't even need to catch this whole move. You can, but
Yeah, and even if you don't, I like that. I happen to be. I was busy at the time. I was done trading for the day.
yeah.
Um, I went to turn on WWE wrestling, and saw the White House. No, seriously. um, but there. I mean, like, is that a 2-to-1 trade? Heck yeah. And you know what? I just want to go for it. In day trading, we can look at what eventually happened. And with that, we could say, well, I should have held it.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I don't know. You have a short period of time.
very short.
You don't, that type of move is for the professional class. I'm not saying anyone here didn't act professionally. Maybe a better word is the institutional customer. Um, but two things. Did that change th- did that change the direction? If we just do you know how to hide the candles?
Hide the like.
Candles. I think you can just click on it and hit hide. Or it might be there. Okay. Without any candles. If you just saw that,
Just the volume itself.
just the VWAP itself from the opening,
Let's attach one to the open. Interesting.
so now uh, what's the trend?
Today it was to the upside.
Yeah, well, starting at the opening, we had that even with that news. All the king's horses and all the king's sellers couldn't change the direction of of the buying on that news on the worldwide wrestling event. Um, so keep whatever you're. I'm fine. The value in knowing VWAP is the value of knowing that was the result of the VWAP, volume weighted average price equation. I do that all the time now. Hide the variation.
Is that the next evolution of this trade, coach? We just trade with no candles, with no charts at all. I told you the way I learned how to read tape. That was actually one of the
You heard
exercises.
it here first.
That was one of the exercises we used to do, coach. Was in this group called Ahead of the Charts, and that was one of the exercises. Read the order flow, read the volume, and try to draw the chart and imagine what's happening. Now, I wouldn't suggest anybody trading that way, but you know, there is there's something to it because the charts, the candles. I don't even know how to see now. How do I get them back, coach? They're going forever now. Now I got to trade like
Go
this.
go back. Hit bar. Just hit the bar or the candle. Either one.
They're gone
It'll come back.
forever. They're gone forever. No, I actually don't know how to bring them back.
I'm gonna keep them off. I'm not telling you. um,
Hit undo.
yeah, hit undo or
There is no undo.
go into the
Okay.
hit a line chart.
I tried that. It didn't do it. It didn't show anything.
Um,
Here we are. Now we
well,
trade with no control Z. Control Z.
you see, you will never see
There we go.
another
There we go. Ooh, thank
bar
you.
bar chart again. Or I've gone full blown volume. Well, now how
I'm
did you
just
do
in the
that? So we
matrix.
know now.
Control Z. Control Z. Shout out
Control Z.
to Shep's new hip and whoever said do undo.
Now
That was
that's
like,
collaboration. We have
yeah,
just
right.
a great audience. Thank you.
I'm gonna try that one day. I'm gonna try to trade in a practice account with no candles and just read volume. I had, we were having a little fun here. We actually have to cut at the buzzer a little early because I got to go hang out with my niece and nephew. But I had my charts like this one day, and someone was just like, "Hey Jay, can you, minimize the the volume because we can barely see the price. And I thought about it. I was just like, if we go with level of importance, I think I want to leave it this way. But we'll put it back because it's not good TV. But the market respecting volume coming back, kind of holding this equilibrium point here, holding that 50%. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect this move, but like if we put the full puzzle together, like we said, the last 6 days we've been moving to the downside, end of month, maybe some short covering into that close, and that was a huge move. Uh, Huge move. Anything else on the equities, coach?
Yeah, let's go to the S&P real quick.
Hmm.
Go to the daily. Put on the white line.
There it is. What is that white line? 200.
Audience.
What's that white line? 200 moving average. We're on a little bit of a delay, so we get it.
All right. So on the daily. So is it magic? No. I mean, it's institutions watch this. I know for a fact. We follow the institutions. It's not the other way around. Um, we talked yesterday. Is it going to hold? I don't know. And that's a great mantra to have because when I had to do this because it had to do what I thought it was going to do, right? And then half the time it would do it, the other half I would get stubborn and hold on and complain, swear at the screen, come up with conspiracy theories, all the other things that I had no control out of. So I literally have had a mantra for years of I don't know.
I don't know.
So then you can read and react. When you think you know, you get
There's pressure there.
uh, you get anchored to an opinion,
Yep. There's pressure to be right if you think you know.
right? So um, let's now we're going to go to the half hours and mark that price of the 200. All right. Now let's go to the half hour. All
The
right, I'm
presidents
done.
are fighting. It's like, no, they're not. They're just trading back down to the white line
How many times we hit that white line?
twice,
We hit
right
it
on the open.
overnight.
Right on the, oh, yeah, overnight on 30, on the New York session open. And then during the, wow.
That's all I have to say. I'm done.
That's it. That's it. It's a wrap, folks. No, but seriously, we are technical traders here. The fundamentals are going to have their effects on the markets, but I think this is a really good case of you might not have had to hear anything and just trade off the technicals and have a really great trading day. And it's the same stuff that we repeat all the time, and I think that's what in uncertain times we want to try to go to something repeatable, right? Because no matter what happens, um, if I have a line on a chart that helps me make a decision, or I have a pattern that I look at that helps me make a decision, no matter what's going on, that pattern is going to either show up or it's not, right? So I can keep, just like if we're doing a science experiment, there's going to be variables, right? The variables are, hey, a headline might come out, news might drop, somebody might fat finger sell 5,000 contracts in the Nasdaq and then change the market. The constants are the patterns that we look for, the stuff that we repeat here every day, the stuff that you build a trading plan off of. Because when any of those things happen, they're going to create a pattern. The one reason I personally love volume, and I hear a lot of people say, it can be tricky to read it, and I agree. But once you've identified the patterns, you can't fake volume. You can't fake traded volume. Um, and that's why I've said for my playbook, I'm going to anchor my trading strategy on something that cannot be fabricated. Now, the order book can be right. We can flash orders and things like that, but once those orders are filled, that is a indication that there is a market participant that said, I want to participate right here. And when it's big size, that's who I want to follow. Coach, this 200 moving average, I know is an indication of where, like you said, institutions look to execute that volume. If they're trading there, I want to be trading there. And this is yeah.
Yeah. So let's visualize resting orders. There's bids there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That- Why? Well, it didn't trade how long on that panic, and when we had exhaustive buying, which was taken up, was gobbled up. At the least, there was no selling down there. Oh wait, there was. It was exhausted. So what did that big selling do? Nothing.
Nothing. That was it. They met a buyer.
Yeah. Now, I hear at that point, um, in my younger days, I got short. This is going. It's going to nothing. All right. Well, first of all, let's just say I had that idea and it closed under that line.
Hmm.
Now I can use a VWAP. Put a VWAP there.
Volume never traded under
I
that line.
lost money. I
Yeah.
lost money,
Right.
but I didn't hold on saying, "Well, it's got to go."
Yep.
Good loss.
Great
I got
loss.
short at the lows and lost. Now how much could I afford to lose? Well, let's look. If I sold there, what's the two ATRs?
16 points.
16 points. That's times two, or
Yeah, that's times two. So ATR was about 8 at that point.
so that's $800 on one S&P. Who
8.
here has got eight 800? So if you lost $800, it'd be 10% on an $8,000 account.
Hmm.
Well, does anybody here can afford to lose $800 on one trade?
It's a lot of money.
And what can I afford to at two ATRs? If I do the micro, it goes to 80.
Yep.
Two micros, 160. Now, this is important. It's position sizing. You have to trade your equity. You can't just wish that it stays or you're uh, that's that's gambling. Where can you afford to be wrong? And so right there, you sold the low of the day basically,
Right.
and it rallied 80 points from there. You're not using this is where a lot of people if you get stuck, which you couple things you're stuck in your opinion or you're stuck that you can't take a loss, guess what happens? We have blown up accounts.
Yeah. You need a reset.
And this happens if you don't have that idea. um and you know what, sometime in a trader's life it happens. Learn from it. um it's all right to be wrong. Like there's nothing, we're talking crazy stuff here. There's nothing wrong with getting short there. I'm not
No, it's
telling you
there's nothing at all. Right.
you're short at the lows of the day.
The market's selling off. But what I think what like you said, coach, what is wrong is risking too much to do it and or over leveraging to do it. Right. And that's wrong anywhere. That's wrong anywhere on this chart, right? If you over leverage it because there's no guarantee that this is the time that it's going to work. Uh Shout out to Coach Vince. And this is just another, and I don't think we have that problem with everyone here. I know everyone here at the buzzer is working on working on or working on executing their trade plan and their playbook, uh, where it doesn't matter what anyone else does. right? I think we saw that a little bit on social media this week. Dakota had a trade where he's longing a market that was down 200 points, makes 7 grand. People say, "Hey, this guy's an idiot for trading this way." No one else's opinion about anything should matter if you have your trading plan. Coach Finch just said he had a long from 58.75 in the S&Ps, target 59.30. Coach Vince, next time you get one of those, send me a text. And
Just
it's
put one on for me too.
right. uh, you know, and traders laughing. It's just like, guys, honestly, if my trade plan said to short at 58.75 and Coach Vince's said to long it, I'm gonna say to Coach Vince, I hope your trade works out, and I hope mine does too, because we're gonna have different profit targets. Oh, you said it on Top Step TV. There you go. Oh, I missed it, man. My bad. My bad. But it does. Coach Vince is, yeah. If I'm short here and he's long, I do need it. I do need the market to sell off. But I don't hope it sells off so Coach Vince loses. I hope it sells off so I win my trade, right? And
And
he might have a game plan that his stop is past where my profit target is, right? So really do focus on yourself, and how you approach the markets.
eh, hands down, good job. And you know what? It's in the hierarchy of trading. I don't know. I know. Okay, there's a lot of technicians, right?
Yep.
The biggest traders, Paul Tudor Jones, Citadel, they hire analysts, but they trade. So why I bring that, we can see an opportunity, but if you don't know how to measure the risk, and you don't, it's number one on the list of hierarchy is risk management. I've I've done things where I was right the overall market and lost money.
Yep. Yep. Been
I
there.
got I got I got in with too big a position, and I think I didn't have um the plan done. I was just analyzing price.
Right.
So just that was a great example. Sure, you get short I have man, if you're short, good. You're short and it's the low of the day. You're doing something.
Yep. 100%.
But
Coach, any other market? I do have to wrap soon, but
oh
any
yeah.
other markets that you want to talk about before we go into the weekend?
Oh, Bitcoin.
Let's go to
Talk
micro
about that.
Bitcoin.
Let's put half hour, put on the daily really quick.
Put on a daily. My bad.
Sorry. 200 and that
You
hit.
you said you had nothing else to say last time. What about now? Coach Paul, man.
Well, I'm not okay. I'm not gonna say it, but I was short. I'm no longer short.
There you go.
I did not get long here.
And that's
You
fine.
could say it,
That's a great
and that's
trade.
fine. Some people might have bought it.
Right.
I don't. I've been short once since the beginning of the week. I don't know. That was my target. I might want to be. This could be a good buy. I want to Sunday night. I'm watching the first half an hour. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was
We finally got down there. It's been a while since we've been at that 200 daily moving average. October was the
yeah,
last time we hit it. Um, and look at the reaction. That's not a coincidence.
yeah. It's not. Well, it's not. Last thing. What kind of candle is that? Is that a?
Wait, what did we learn today? This week, a harami? Is this a harami? His royal. I know you said you're leaving. Is this a harami? I need to know.
I got to know. Is it a? Wow. Look at that. And that I believe that happened. Go to the half hour. It happened last night. I don't think
Uh,
it came back and checked it.
yeah, last night into this morning. Oh, the candle to the left was a harami. Okay, the inside candle. Got you. Um, But yeah, we checked it last night, coach. Traded down to 79,000s, and
Wow. Kind of looks like the S&P. Isn't that been a theme, coach? Does this look just like a stock?
yeah, yeah, this looks exactly like the equity markets. The exact same chart, right? Is this micro Bitcoin? Is this Nasdaq? It's the same thing at this point.
Uh,
With that
That
much
was,
institutional money coming into it,
yeah. So anyway, that's the last one we have. I know you got to go. Um, Before we go, my last thing to say is yes, this was a great learning week. Either way, whether it was profitable or you lost, you know, you learn from your losers. You learn from your losses. In this weekend, spend an hour, just an hour. Don't spend a whole day because yeah, life goes on. But review. If you did well, review what you did well. And if you did poorly, you have a great opportunity to improve, whether
yep,
it's in the risk management or the way you're seeing the market. So have a great weekend.
good
Pass
stuff.
it off to you, coach.
Thank you, Coach. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. I know we're cutting it a little bit early this week, but next week is going to be a pretty busy week. Just on Top State TV in general. Definitely tune in. Like Coach said, if you need to review or anything like that, do that. But then make sure you spend some time off the charts. It makes what we do here all worth it. I will see everybody for Sunday night slow markets. Speaking of, spending some time off the charts. Dakota is, I think, going on a cruise or to the Bahamas, one of the two, maybe both. So he's going to be out for the week. I'm going to be covering slow markets next week. And starting on Sunday, we'll do that. So I'll talk to everyone Sunday. Uh, Enjoy your weekends, and we'll see you then. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye. And where's our outro? Here we go.